Good evening from Super League HQ. I am Fifey. He is Ian Campbell, and we really are in the final countdown. We have game week 21 ahead of us, and I can say officially, good evening, Ian. How are you?
Good evening, Fife. I'm very well, mate. How are you?
Oh, very, very well, sir. Thank you for asking. Welcome to, as I say, the final countdown. As I bring the league table up on the screen, before we get into the action, mate, you currently find yourself in 10th. You're only 4 points outside the dotted line. Are you still hopeful of making the end of season playoffs?
While it's still mathematically possible, well, I'll retain hope, but realistically, we've just been so inconsistent, Fife. It's fucking killing us. Win, draw, lose, repeat. That's basically what it's been all season. So until it's mathematically impossible, I'll have that wee glimmer of hope, but I can't. I mean, previous form will tell you, but we're not going to manage it. But I'll be hopeful.
Well, the thing is, mate, this season, as I think it was Steve was alluding to when he was on comms, you say you're inconsistent, but everyone's in the same boat. I mean, as we say, you're in 10th. Asta on the same points as you, only 3 goals difference between you both on exactly the same record, 6-5-9 win, draw, loss. Then you've got Dragons 1 point ahead of you, Leddersford a further point ahead of them. Now they were in the top 6. 1-2 game weeks ago. Churchtown were up there as well. They've now been pipped by Halls. There's a different team in 6th every week.
There is, mate, and it is really tight. It's probably one of the tightest leagues since I've been involved in it. I mean, just with the amount of teams that's on there or thereabouts same points. But as I say, I just can't see us managing to do it. Whether other teams are the same, I think it's irrelevant. When it comes to us, I just didn't think we're capable of stringing the wins together. As I say, I'll retain hope, but I think it's not going to be us this season. You never know, though. You never know.
Okay, well, we're at the point where we can really talk about it then. So if it's not going to be you, if we're all in I presume we're in agreement that the top 5 as they are now will make it. Who's taking that 6th spot?
Again, it could be any number of teams. I think the new manager bounced at Hools is going to massively be in his favour, so he's got to be up there. Churchtown went on a good run earlier in the season, maybe stuttered a wee bit. Leddersford having Alf, new manager bounce again. Dragons, I don't think so. I think it could, as it stands, quite possibly be how it ends. To be honest with you, as I say, with Hools having that wee manager bounce, they've got an amazing squad. So I think it could be as it is, but historically there's always been a team that falls away towards the end of the season. I thought that might have been Fulchester. They were having a bit of a bad run, but I think Mark will pull it at the bag. And so as I say, probably Hools for me as it stands, but you never know, do we? We never fucking know.
Well, I've just brought your remaining fixtures up on the screen to have a look at your running. So you've got Fulchester tonight. Then you've got Dragons, Asta, Leddersford and Loco, all teams that will consider themselves in the mix as well. So you've essentially got 4 6-pointers. I mean, it's the same for every team with how tight it is, but you're essentially looking every game is the proverbial cup final there.
As that on paper, that you couldn't really ask for a more favourable running. To be honest with you, it's pretty. It's probably about as good as we could have got. There's no devils or that in there. But as I say, every one of those teams are more than capable of beating us on our day. I mean, Gazelle's last game might be big, but I think it'll be done by then. But as I say, everybody's capable of beating everybody, and we just can't seem to string 2 wins together. So, as I say, I'll retain a bit of hope, but let's just hope it's exciting for all the viewers.
Absolutely. So, Ghost Games permitting, your home game against Fulchester will be our main event of the evening. As always, we'll kind of let the game dictate where we go to an extent, but is there a particular one you want to start with?
I'm not really fussed. I'm just having a look at the chat there, and I think Wobb's asked for his game to be over and done with. So we can maybe who the Sloths play. They play Gazelles, and if there was no.
It's the bottom of the table. This is Gazelle's chance, really. If we're looking there, a Gazelle's win puts them within a point of Sloths. So I'm happy to start there if you want to.
I will go for that, and I don't know if there's any other guys that's get over it. I'm Greaves sometimes up early, so but I'm happy just to go with this one, and I'm not really too fussed about order, to be honest with you.
Okay, mate. Well, Sloths last time out had that absolute cracker of a defeat at home to Dudley, the 4-3 game. They line up unchanged for this evening from their last game, which some might consider a bit of a surprise. But when you consider how well they did play, it's just their goalkeeper had an absolute, well, I say had a mare. He's still rated quite highly, but as a defensive unit, conceding 4 goals isn't ideal. So there's still questions, not just in terms of Sloths, but in terms of the entirety of the Super League about Van der Vaart and Joe Cole and whether they're good enough. What's your thoughts on those pair?
Van der Vaart is a home safe hero for me. I love him on home saves. He's just never really done it in the Super League. I think I've had him in this, and I don't know if it was in this iteration, but I've had him at Midlothian. I know he was a bit too young at the start, but he's never really had a run of games, as you can see there. I think he's now season 4. He should really be coming into his own, but obviously we're not having the amount of games that he would likely have had in a home save. He's not really progressed. Possibly that's where I would play him if I was going to play Van der Vaart. So for me, I like him. Joe Cole is no really one that I would go out and buy on home saves or that. I like him. He's definitely good enough. That tricky position of AM, where do you play him? AM in attacking midfield or in centre mid? I'd probably play him as centre mid, as I tend to do with attacking midfielders. I like him. Whether he's consistent Super League material, maybe the jury's still out. But no, I definitely wouldn't play him in attacking midfield. But I think he's good enough for the Super League, in my opinion.
This fixture historically is very even. You can see there that both sides have got equal records. And it's certainly a fixture that favours the home side, in this case Gazelles. The home side have never lost in this iteration.
It could go either way. I mean, Gazelles had a very poor start. Obviously, they got the new manager coming in. It's given them a bounce. Sloths always concede goals. I mean, that's Jesus Christ. That's a given. Just until I seen that, I was going to say it's probably going to be a close game, but that's mental. 2 at the back, I like. I'm maybe a wee bit disappointed with the Gazelles manager coming in, and well, not disappointed. Just I think he came in and he knows the Super League, so I found it a strange starting point to come in and say he was going to play 4 at the back and stick to the sort of Gazelles. I mean, Craig had them playing 4 at the back quite consistently. I found it strange to come in and just abandon it. But give him credit, he's done exceptionally well for where they were, so he has done well. But seeing that, I mean, I like this kind of mentally formation. Whether this is going to work, I don't think it will. Big Vieri on 91%, that's maybe a wee bit of risk.
Well, he's obviously this was the last time that anyone could swap their squad around, and Martin was one of the few that did make a few changes, which included Vieri, who had that long-term injury, now back from fitness, scored 2 goals in 4 reserve games, gets an instant recall at the first opportunity and straight back in the starting lineup.
You know what I mean? But if he's available, he's got to play. I mean, he's one of a number of forwards that just didn't transfer the home save form into the Super League. I mean, 10 goals, you're looking at about the best you're going to get on average out of a striker in the Super League. I know there's some exceptions, Sigalko and stuff, but he's a big player. We had him. The only criticism is he doesn't score enough goals in the Super League. This formation, though, I mean, if there ever was a time to do it, I think Martin's in the position that he can, because he's bottom of the league, nothing really to lose. I know he's still maybe chasing the top 6, but I think it's a distant possibility.
You say that though, but as I pointed out, this game, if he wins, he's within a point of Sloths and a chance to get off the bottom, which, when you consider where they were, I think how long they've been bottom, this is a real chance now for Martin to get the ultimate goal, which was to not finish bottom. I mean, you look at the decline of Sloths over the course of the season.
No, absolutely. I mean, if that was his aim, not to finish bottom, which it's probably about the best he could hope for when he came in. So, I was meaning more just for the playoffs. I think it's maybe a bit distant, but to catch 13th is obviously a possibility. I'll be really interested to see how this formation goes, because I do quite like a bit of a ballsy formation.
Can I expect a ballsy prediction for our opening fixture?
I think it will be 4-2 to Gazelles.
4-2 to Gazelles. Let's find out if you're correct as we kick off our opening game. And it's Sloths with the first meaningful attack of the half. Gazelles now coming forward, though. Plenty of intent from both sides in the opening 10 minutes. Are we going to get a fairly early goal? The answer to that is no, as we move on to 17 minutes now on the clock. Giovanni with the latest opportunity for the home side. Alf making excuses already before his team's even played. But Giovanni, on 29 minutes, gives Gazelles the lead. Included this time round, had been on the bench recently, but opens the scoring for the home side. And Vieri looking for a second, and another opportunity there. And now Sloths coming up the other end. Can they get a goal before half-time to level things up? Both sides certainly going for it. Desperate not to finish bottom. And there's Pizarro on 44 minutes, makes it 1-1. And the half-time whistle goes as both teams were still trying to go in ahead. A very interesting and actually quite entertaining first half, Ian, considering it's the bottom two clubs.
It was. I mean, it was nailed on. Sloths would concede. I think that's been their Achilles heel. I mean, it can be quite an entertaining sight to watch. The text runs awfully slow. I don't know if it's just my mind, but it tends to run quite slow here. Didn't there really seem to be any one team dominating? But obviously, looking at the shots from shots from goal, Gazelles have had the better of it. It's wide open as it stands. I'm looking at the headers one here for Sloths, which is pretty poor in comparison to Gazelles. But getting that goal has made it going to be an interesting second half.
Well, let's have a look at the home side first, because everyone's intrigued how this trial formation was going to work. Okoronkwo there, obviously very limited cover in the back. So you see Okoronkwo and Udesi there picking up high ratings at centre-back. Hersey doing quite well, as is Giovanni in the more attacking midfield positions. All in all, though, if you look at it, it's surprisingly only Vieri who's rating below a 7.
I think so far his experiment's paid off. I'd be amazed if he changes anything. I know Vieri's on a 6, but he's not really got any reasonable options. Jardell's no bad. I think we had him on loan last season, but over Vieri, no chance. So I would just be rolling with it now.
You say no chance, but I wonder whether fitness is playing a part, because he is making that change. Jardel coming on for Vieri at half time.
It was the only sub I could see that would make it. As I say, I maybe would have stuck, but Jardell's a good option. I know he's maybe kicking on a wee bit, but no, it's a reasonable sub to make, I think.
As for Sloths, Nick Matulin, after conceding 4 last time out, is rating very highly with a 9 out of 10 first half performance. Babayara continues to be one of the more consistent players in this Sloths team, picking up another decent rating. Pizarro, the pick of the two strikers. Alan Shearer not having a shot on goal yet.
I think I'd be bringing on Mantoris for Shearer here. Simeone putting the tackles in, but on a yellow card, that's always worth a watch second half. But I think I'd be bringing on Mantoris for Shearer personally. I think that's what I'd be doing.
That's exactly the change that Rob has asked for in the chat.
It makes sense. Makes sense.
Both sides making changes then to their front lines for this second half as we kick off to see which change pays dividends. And there's Albertini with his first of the season for Sloths, making it 2-1 to the away side.
Wow.
And now what? Amido, the on-loan Devils man, makes it 2-2. It's free, and we have got goals. It's 3-2 to Sloths. And you predicted a 4-2, but it could end up being 4-2 the other way. Appeals for penalty. Referee says no. And it's certainly and there it is. It's Babayaro makes it 4-2 to the away side. Can Gazelles force their way back into this with all those attacking players on the pitch? A couple of opportunities wasted there, and another one from Zayaleas this time. Can they force it to 4-3? They have 4-3, and it's Giovanni. And a lot of time though went by without Gazelles creating that chance they need. But they come forward again. It's gone out for a throw-in, unfortunately for them. And now Mantouras, it's a free kick to the away side. Van der Vaart, Sayaleus heads it clear. We're into injury time. Can Gazelles make one last chance? Oh, Mido and Giovanni for a hat-trick. He's done it! It's 4-4! A Giovanni hat-trick in injury time. Unbelievable scenes. And the match has finished 4-4. And wow, I mean, when I was a manager in this fantastic football league, I got told my side conceded a lot of goals, but fuck me, if you're a Sloths fan, you must be pulling your hair out.
What a game, man! I'm quite pleased, to be honest with you, that Gazelles managed to get something, because that formation, it was ballsy. So credit when it's due. And look at that, Jesus! I mean, you've got to say that it's just a fantastic game. What a start! What a game to start. It's awfully fifey, but I'm happy Gazelles didn't lose that, because you might have seen that formation away in the abyss and never be seen again. So hopefully we'll see more of it.
I mean, everyone's just sort of reacting the same way we are in the chat. We've got Tato saying, Slossman, what are his instructions? Jens, what a game. Steve just saying, Jesus. Ian Edwards, great game. Dimble saying, no way. Martin saying he maybe should have played a couple of defenders. Rob saying he wish he could defend. Steve again just put in, wow. You're right. It was an interesting formation, and Tato's just pointed out there. It's the man in the very unfashionable forward right position who got the hat trick.
I mean, I can recall. I think maybe somebody played a similar formation with arrows. Maybe it could have been the opposite way, but arrows drifting out to each side before. I think maybe pulling the defenders about was maybe what was somebody saying might have happened, but. No, I thought it was a great game. Gazelles keep up their good form, and they probably could have been doing the 3 points if they've got aspirations of catching Sloths, but it certainly doesn't do Sloths playoff hopes any good at all.
No, I think Gazelles still stand a remote chance of catching Sloths with the form they're in. I think that all but does Sloths playoff chances now, because there will be teams above them winning tonight, and the gap will just be too big. Giovanni, unsurprisingly, with man of the match for his hat trick. Barthez, though, have to ask questions. I mean, he's not been in terrible form, but he's certainly not in the form he was at Loco in his opening few games.
No, but whether that's to do with the players in front of him, I don't know. But in saying that, Loco haven't been in great form. Barthez isn't a favourite keeper of mine on the game, but none really are, to be honest. But I definitely think Gazelles got the better of that deal, getting the Ferdinand, because Udeze and Okoronkwo are both more than capable.
Oh, I completely agree. And don't forget, he's also got Marino, who's injured at the moment.
I mean, the Gazelle squad wasn't all that bad. I mean, Richie Wellens was maybe a question mark over him, but I think he's been well and truly punted now. I think we'll be seeing him again, but they've got a decent squad. I think it was just a case of tweaking the tactics. Maybe a Karagunis and that, maybe no, wouldn't be your first pick. But no, they've got a decent squad. Loss again, just their Achilles heel, conceding far too many goals.
That is correct. Although when you look at the individual player performances, they're not that bad. Again, it's Van der Vaart and it's Shearer who have really let the side down in terms of player ratings. I just think Sloths at the minute, they're going for a spell where this is textbook Rob. You know, when we categorise 1-0 Loco as textbook Greavesy, 4-4 games is textbook Sloths. They can score, but my word, can they concede?
Definitely, and they're up there with the most goals scored in the league, I believe. I remember the last time they were on 30 something, I believe they scored. But as you say, they just leak goals. Van der Vaart underwhelming again. Shearer maybe a bit past it now, being season 4. But I think I think he knows where his weaknesses are, and it's definitely the defensive side of things for me.
Well, it was certainly, as you said a little while ago, a great game to kick us off with. Let's see, and the game has decided, if that wasn't good enough, we're going from the powerhouse clash at the bottom to the clash of the titans at the top. Second place Northern Burn host third place Bostock Standing. And you just look over the last couple of weeks how those two have just been swapping positions. and just sort of matching each other stride for stride. They're not quite able to keep up with Devils at the moment, but this has got the makings of one hell of a game. And would you argue Winner is likely now to finish second?
I don't know if that's nailed on, but it will certainly give us an indication of who's going to be, in my opinion, one of the contenders for the final. Obviously, Devils are away, but it's definitely out of these two. Burn haven't been as good as last season. I know he's had some injury and suspensions, but Ricardo Gardner, I don't know why he's still even in the league, to be honest. But
Ricardo Gardner's one of three players that Ian has actually brought up for the run-in. He made a couple of changes. He's brought Gardner in, he's brought Kovac in, and he's also called up Cherno Samba to get some game time going into the playoffs. He's been in decent form in the reserves, so maybe now's his chance, especially with Sunwa, who's not managed to make much of an impact away on international duty, not made an impact largely because of the work done by Sigalko so far this season. Maybe Sam will get a little bit of game time and get the chance to impress.
Well, they're going to have to be doing something special to unsurt Sigalko, but again, it is one of the stronger teams in the league. Keane and Vieira, obviously, fucking doing bits. Is Vieira suspended?
Vieira suspended again. Shorgatos injured.
I mean, that's one of the things with Vieira. He's always liable to be suspended. But with Ian having Keane and Vieira, I thought he would just alternate between the two, but he has played them together quite a bit. Totti, obviously, he's not done that well for other teams in the Super League. I remember him being at Dudley and he didn't do much, but he's obviously done better with Burn. Lundberg continues to be a sort of unsung hero for Burn, I think. Again, it's just a solid fucking side, isn't it? Hoffland, he never got him for me. I've had him before, and he's obviously a good player. I mean, I got Samuel off him, but Ian, he's done well to build one of the better teams in the Super League, if not the best. But I'm really interested in this game.
Last time out, they did lose to Devils, so if they were to lose this one as well, that would be consecutive losses to title rivals. That wouldn't do, we use the word momentum, that would be doing Ian no favours, especially as defending champions.
No, I think now it's getting to the nitty-gritty of the season. You really need to be, well, now is the perfect time to be going on a wee run. He's more than capable of doing it, but this is a huge game. If Burn were to lose this, I think Bostock, as you were saying, they probably would be in the driving seat to push on. But again, I mean, Bostock have lost a couple in the last 5, I believe, have they? They've been a wee bit stop-start. Did they lose to Dudley? I'm imagining it.
So they won last time out, but before that they'd gone 1, 2, 3, 4 games without a win.
That's right. I mean, they've not lost a lot, but I think a win either way here would be massive.
And these games, I just brought up the history of this fixture. These are notoriously tight games. Let's have a look at the Bostock team then. A couple of alterations. It's kind of a revert back to something a bit more familiar with Zé Roberto and Cafu as wing backs. Live drops into defence with Welsh and Decor in centre. Oh, he did ask for Welsh to be captain, so I will change that. With Welsh and Decor in holding midfield. That's because of the suspension to Lasisi. And going into this fixture, managers and looking at squad rotation is critical. So interesting that both Decor and Bowyer play when both are a yellow away from suspension.
Well, I think yellows, he's maybe better just getting out of the way of the suspensions if they're going to come now. And I don't know if they get wiped when the playoffs start. I think they do, don't they? Do they get wiped at the playoffs? Or do they carry through?
I think if you get one on the last game, it carries through, but when you get into the playoffs, it doesn't.
Right. I know we've still got a wee bit to go there, but looking at that Bostock team, I think he's been really fortunate to get Welsh and Lythe. Blossoming at this stage. I mean, they can be a bit slow, but they're both quality players. Home save go-tos. Zé Roberto and Cafu. We'll be struggling to find a better wing-back combination than that. I know Zé Roberto's a wee bit injury-prone, but Anelka for me, I think he's been his main man. I mean, to get him scoring and no chucking the toys at the pram has been fucking an achievement in itself. I mean, look at that; it's pretty good Super League stats. That. Again, I'm really interested to see how this goes. I think if either team were to win it, it makes a huge statement. So for that, I think this is going to be a draw.
You're going for a draw. Lovely. Let's see if I'll kick off while we wait to see. Oh, Greaves is just correcting me regarding the card situation, saying they do carry over. We'll see if there's any more predictions come into the chat as we kick off this game. Bostock in their very attractive black and gold kit. For this one. Duggan, evening pal, going straight in for 2-2. Steve Wright with a 1-1. So draw is popular, as you suggested. Northern Burn having 1 or 2 attempts at the moment after Bostock had the opening one of the game. Sigalko missing a chance there. Steve, who refuses to admit that he has title aspirations, is hoping for a draw because it will significantly improve his aspirations. Mikael Sylvestre getting a red card for Bostock after just half an hour.
Wow.
Now, Scott hasn't been adverse to playing one at the back, but surely not against Northern Burn.
No, it wouldn't be for me, to be honest. I think I would be chucking in Cafour, or you could possibly move Welsh back. But I would probably. I think I'd probably take Keane off and put Cafour in and just put Jacques in the centrally behind Anelka. I think that's what I'd have to do there.
Well, I agree. I think Keane will be the one that come off, but I think Jacques will stay where he is. I think last time he got a red card, he left Jacques just right of centre with the arrow.
Right. Aye. Why no? But I think he's definitely going to. I think it's Keane definitely going to be the one getting hooked for Cafour. I would imagine. One at the back.
And
ballsy.
I think half of the league are sort of applauding the ballsiness of it. The rest of them are thinking he's absolutely mad.
Away from home.
Let's find out if it works. Steve saying he expected him to leave Carlos there, and Jacques it was with the opportunity. And Bostock are finishing the half strongest. Can they get the goal that the pressure deserves? No, there's the halftime whistle as Tato and Stee both applaud him for going one at the back against Northern Burn. It is 0-0 at halftime, and they certainly ended the half strongest. And in terms of chances created, it's very even.
As I think I definitely wouldn't have thought Scott would have went one at the back there. Like, so big credit to him for doing that.
I think
whether
Steve
he can
makes
hold
a great
on.
point. I mean, you talked about how live has developed. We've literally got live versus Sigalko 1-on-1 for this second half.
It's going to be interesting. I think now Scott would take a point. I think he'd quite happily just get away from there with a point. Burn will be definitely looking to capitalise on that. I think he's going to. Scott will do well to hold out now, to be honest with you, just for going down to 10 men. But as you say, he ended the half pretty well. So again, it's set up nicely for the second 45.
Fairly strong performance. Sigalko maybe not as involved as he would like, although he has had virtually all of the attempts and he has got them all on target. So you kind of feel there is a goal coming for him. As you say, with the man advantage now, that they'll be licking their lips thinking if they could just get through that very strong wall that Bostock have, then there will be a goal or two in this for them.
You would think so. I mean, I see Keane's on a yellow, so you wouldn't bet against him getting another yellow in the second half. Sigalko only needs one chance. I know he's not really been involved much there. 7 passes, 5 completed. He's not really done an awful lot, but again, it only takes one chance for him to grab a goal.
Ian going as is for the second half, so this gives Scott a chance to reflect and maybe alter things slightly. But then again, they ended this half strong. This is the team he's relying on. Would you, when you see that bench, would you be changing much?
Possibly Del Piero, but I don't know who you would want to hook. I mean, in fact, Keane would definitely. That's the one that stands out. So I think I would be amazed if he doesn't bring on Del Piero for Keane here, left sided DML. I think that would be the one that he does.
Well, that's not quite what he's doing. So we've got Del Piero coming on for Anelka and then swapping with Keane. So Keane, who we both suggested would be coming off, is now the focal point of the attack.
Right, I'm quite amazed. I'm amazed at that. Again, Scotty's really gone balls out here. I mean, I know he could be doing with the win to keep the pressure on, but that was definitely not a sub I seen coming. But we'll wait and see how it goes.
Well, let's kick off the second half and see how this pans out as Burn come forward very quickly in this half. And it looked like there was a push to the face there, but Robbie Keane has scored just before the hour mark. And what a second half we've got now. And Cannavaro, his first ever goal, has levelled things up. And then on 69 minutes, Olivier Dacour goes off injured. I would like to go back at full time and revisit what happened. It looked like someone had been pushed in the face or punched in the face, but there was no action taken. I'm presuming Guigu. I'll get that substitution prepared. As another player leaves the pitch for Bostock Stanley.
I mean, if Bostock can get anything, if they can manage to win this game, it's going to be some achievement with Scotty. I mean, moving Keane up front, looking to be a masterstroke.
Absolutely.
I missed that kind of a equaliser.
And Jacques on the rebound, but no, fails to convert. 15 minutes now, and now 10 minutes to go, and still 1-1, and Burn aren't at their fluent best at this moment in time. Guigu picks it up, but Robbie Keane controls it with his hand, and Burn get a free kick. Oh, and tried to catch the keeper off guard, but he managed to get a save to it. 5 minutes to go now, and it's Burn on the attack again. Guerrero, Gardner, Sigalko. 2 minutes to be added on. We're on the 87th minute now. Del Piero coming forward. Toldo gets down well to save, though. It's a throw-in. Jacques, say Roberto. Another fine save and a corner. And Cannavaro outjumps Cafu. There's only one winner there when it comes to an aerial battle. Guigu, he gets fouled. And can Bostock nick this in injury time with a set piece? Easy save for Toldo. And there is the full-time whistle. And I think round of applause for Bostock for holding out for an hour against Northern Burn. Good game all round. Burn probably frustrated they haven't won it, Ian, but that was a solid performance by the away side.
I think so. I think Gott's going to be the happier of the two managers there. Burn never really looked like they were on top at any stage of the game. I know they put a wee bit of pressure in the second half, but Bostock done immensely well to hold out there. So I definitely think Scotty's going to be the happier of the two going down to the 10-minute stuff. Again, Burns still faltering. I know they're not in the most horrendous form, but I think Scott's going to be the happier of the two there for sure.
No, absolutely. Let's have a look. Roy Keane picking up man of the match for his performance. And Duggan mentioned in the chat there that Toldo's been massive, and you can see in his performance there, he has at times rescued that point for Burn.
Definitely. And Keane getting man of the match by Toldo on the nines. No, the worst of ratings. Shigalko maybe disappointing a bit. Guerrero, whatever his name is, I'm not a big fan of his. I know he's done okay. But I think Ian will be disappointed he's not capitalised on the numerical advantage. As I say, Keane must be coming close to a suspension as well, but the amount of yellows he racks up, he's going to be disappointed, Ian.
No, completely agree. Just trying to work it out now. Yes, I believe that will see him miss the next game. Let's have a look then at Bostock Stanley, who, let's not forget, as we said, Sylvestre got sent off on 30 minutes. Dacour got taken off injured on 69. There was also an incident that I'm sure I saw someone get hit in the face. So I'm just going to quickly flick through the second half commentary, see if I can find it. I mean, I could have been wrong. There we go. Sigalko was punched in the face by Welsh, and the referee did. I mean, that's not going to please Ian anymore, is it? Ian, are you still there? I think Mr. Campbell's connection may have dropped slightly. So yes, a controversial moment. Be interesting to see if anything happens afterwards by the authorities. But a 1-1. This game has finished. Huge credit to both sides for another entertaining game. Ian, are you back with us?
Can you hear me?
Can hear you again now.
I can't see the screen around it, so I'm going to just go back into. I'm going to dial back in. Is that okay?
Yeah, no, that's fine, mate. I will just load up the next game.
No worries, mate. Apologies. It's the good old Edinburgh broadband doing its finest here.
We will see you shortly for a game that you will be very interested in.
Cool, mate. I'm just trying to get back into this.
While Ian reconnects in, we have got Leddersford against Astor next up. Astor without Zizi Roberts, who's away on international duty. Tato has made a couple of squad alterations for this one, and for the run-in, with the other Emerson returning to the squad. John Dal Thomason called up as well, and who was the third one that got called up? I'm trying to think. Guardiola is the other one who got called up. Last time out, can I be on soon, please? 5 feet. I'm going to pass out soon. Yeah, we'll put you on next, Greasy. I think that's fine. Who are you playing? Dragons. Yeah, we'll put you on next, mate. We'll put you on next. No worries at all. So last time out, they got the win over Fulchester, the controversial win over Fulchester, which had Macca ruining being such a generous soul. Ian thought it was my guy who did the punch at first. So he was happy until he went back and saw the commentary. Past meetings against Leddersford, it's been very Leddersford dominated, although Astor did win the reverse fixture earlier this season. Let's have a firm look then at the 11 that has been selected, and it's the same tactic as last time out. Yes, there was some discussion. Generous soul. It was days before the deadline. So Emre and Emerson partner each other in midfield. Bo Morte joins Lee Chun-so in supporting Rossini. Rossini, who's been in relatively good form of late as well, and up to 7 goals for the season. So is he going to be the man to potentially fire Astor towards the playoffs? Neil Scally continues to impress. Very high ratings, very impressive performances throughout the season, and again a linchpin when you consider how well the likes of Joey Johnson has done and has been highlighted throughout the campaign, and to an extent, but hasn't played as much. Marvin Menfoy as well. You see that Guardiola and Emerson have been called up. Frede, another one, he's back in the team after missing out against Fulchester last time out. He's been a rock for most of the season. Do you retract, Simon? Ian, are you still with us? Are you reconnected in?
I am indeed. Hear me?
I can hear you fine. Can you see the screen again?
I can indeed. Just having a look at the team. That doesn't appear to be the team that I seen on Twitter earlier in the week, which is a bit of a shock.
You're talking about the one that had the 5 defensive midfielders and all of the Emersons playing.
That's the one, Fifey. I mean, I don't know if it was just an oversight from my former caretaker manager. I can't criticise him too much. He has got his own statue outside the ladies' toilet facility in the ground up at Haggis. But looking at that, doesn't deviate too much from what he's been playing recently. So
it's the same tactic as last time out.
Right. It's I like the long arrows. I think it's identical to the one at Bostock just used in their last match as well. Astor again been a bit hit and miss this season. They're direct competitors for again, and where we are in the table, we're in that sort of mid to bottom area. So I think it's about as full strength as you can go. Michael Owen impact sub for the bench maybe. So pretty much big shout out to Neil Scally, of course, who is a Haggis legend and Midlothian legend. But I think it's about as strong as Tato can muster.
Yeah, and it's just worth saying, you were saying about the similarities to what Bostock do. The only difference is they would have 4 here with 1 centre mid as opposed to 2 centre mids and 1 defensive mid.
So it's nothing like the Bostock one, right? That's a good observation for myself there.
Let's have a look at the Leddersford team, and my first sort of controversial decision that I've had to make as chairman. There was some talk earlier, I don't know if you were around in the chat when everyone was saying about submission times, etc. And I'd made it quite clear that I will be bringing back in the 24-hour before submission. Well, Alpha's actually picked a suspended player on the bench. I believe he may have since messaged to say who he wants, but as it was after submission time, I will be picking his substitute for him, and I'll just go for someone as close to similarly positioned. In fact, I will go for Evan Nielsen, as he's actually a defender compared to Kivu, where Kivu was on the bench. So critical that if you are going to submit players, particularly ones that are unavailable, I will end up picking your team for you if you don't get back to me in time. Alf has made some alterations as well to the squad. You can see Daniel Anderson, who the previous, I think it was Swan, who came in for one game, arranged a loan deal. Alf decided to keep him, then played him in the reserves because he didn't fancy him in the first team, and now for the run-in has called him up and he goes straight into the team. Pedrino also called up. He'll be making his first appearance of the season. But for the large part, it's as has been. The wide player, well, in fact, the midfield unit is where the changes are. Patsazoglu and Paredes it is this time. Ambrosini had been playing well. He got moved into centre midfield for one game, and his ratings have tanked since, even when he reverted back to defensive midfield. So that's why Patsazoglu is partnering Paredes. I think Weston Brown, a lot of people have been calling for that. And Etsabaria moving further forward to partner Ronaldinho. That is because Amac, who's been playing there, is injured for this one.
Daniel Anderson looks pretty tasty, I have to say. He looks more than capable of playing that role. Again, Alf's came in and there was nothing really wrong with the squad, and I think it's too dissimilar to what was being played by the previous manager. Van Nistelrooy's been doing better than what he has been historically in the Super League.
Yep.
Ronaldinho's obviously a big one. Estebaria for me is normally one I would play out wide, but interesting to see what he does in that central role. His central pairing at the back is definitely the best of what he's got there. I would say Petkov dropping out. Again, a solid team on paper. You would have to fancy Leathersford, but I've got a sneaky feeling Aston might sneak this one. And just a wee added thing to the team submissions. I mean, I used to like put a team in, and I generally wouldn't be changing the team. I mean, that's how I normally wait a couple of days before submitting to mull over things. So you can't really be submitting a team, and submitting fake teams is just no for me. It's just no in the spirit of the Super League. I mean, I know we have a laugh.
So this has become a talking point since last time, and I think it's important to say. So I made it quite clear what the stance was. Every team can make changes to their team up until the deadline. Now, the deadline, as I've said a little while ago, will always be 24 hours before kickoff. However, and I made the point that if you wanted to be submitting fake teams, that's entirely up to you. It's just unsportsmanlike behaviour. I wouldn't be condoning that sort of behaviour. It's not in the spirit of what we do, and I don't think people should be intentionally doing it. And that's why it's got such a negative reaction. The fact that this has now become a talking point for me is ridiculous, about people posting fake teams and changing their teams and stuff. At the end of the day, everyone's playing by the same rules. So if you're not doing it properly, as we've seen in situations, then I will action it accordingly. For example, like tonight, we've got a suspended player picked, and I've had to pick someone else because the manager didn't get back within the time frame allowed.
No, absolutely. It's definitely no criticism on your part. I mean, this is just a more for the managers. I mean, just for me, it's just bad crack. I know it's no breaking any rules as such, but just wait until guys submit teams. I know there was a bit of that goes about people submitting a team and then people adjusting tactics to suit. Again, for me, it's a wee bit below the belt, but again, I think you're dealing with it in the best possible way. So I just urge other managers to be a bit more gentlemanly.
Well, let's focus on matters on the pitch, where it's a lot less controversial generally. A referee who I don't recognise his name. I don't think I've seen him refereeing at this level before. But what's your thoughts for Leathersford Astor? Crucial game for the chasing pack.
It is, and a draw would probably suit us if we still did have any aspirations of making it. But I can see Astor sneaking this 2-1.
Astor 2-1. Interesting. And Emerson with an early chance to put them one up, and then 15 minutes goes by with nothing happening. We're approaching half an hour already. It's still Astor looking the more likely at this point. But as I say, that Van Nistelrooy on half an hour gives the home side the lead. They hadn't created anything up till that point, and now they find themselves ahead. And the halftime whistle very, very quickly is blown as the conversation carries on in the chat about team submissions. I'm not going over it again. I'm surprised. Well, actually, no, I'm not surprised to see the stats that low for both teams. I'm just Leddersford. I could pretty much tell you their 2 attempts. They scored, and then they had one other shot attempting almost straight after. But Astor looked the more likely throughout that first half to me.
Definitely, for where I was watching it, it seemed to be all Astor. But again, maybe just not putting their chances away is brilliant. I think Astor have been had the better of the game. A lot of the games that I've seen them in this season, just maybe not putting their chances away. Before I see the stats, I'd be surprised if we didn't see Owen this second half. But again, maybe the difference just being Ruud van Nistelrooy's that level above what Astor have.
Let's have a look then at the home side stats first. And Van Nistelrooy's goal does separate them, and he's one of the 4 players rating an 8 at halftime. Unsurprising, we mentioned him before, but Taibbi is definitely, he's up there, I would say, with the likes of Barthez and Toldo in terms of top keepers in the Super League consistently over the last 2 years at least anyway. And Anderson in for his debut, he's been fairly quiet but efficient. Not much really there for Alf to complain about, I would say.
No, it's pretty good stats there. Maybe Estebaria, maybe not doing that much in that central role. As you say, Carroll complained. Daniel Anderson coming in and getting a 7 steady. Maybe not as many passes as Alf would like to have seen, but a pretty solid first half display, I'd suggest. I don't know if you'd maybe look at bringing, I don't know, Petkov or something. I'm not really sure, to be honest. Amarusso's an option for AM as well. But
yeah, definitely.
Can't be too disappointed.
Someone mentioned, I can't remember if it was Tater or Steve earlier in the chat, that Petkov being dropped was a little bit of a surprise. Let's have a look at Astor while Alf's just confirmed he's doing Amoroso for Etzebaria, so we'll make that change shortly. But a quick look at the Astor first half performance. I'm seeing that out wide they're having some joy with Salihamidzic and Sorin, 2 of the higher rated players. Chunso and Boa Morte not really offering the support that Rossini needs, and all 3 rating low, so their attack aren't performing to the standard that Tato needs at this point.
No, pretty disappointing there. Keeper on a 6 as well is maybe a wee bit, there's a big contrast with what Leathersford's keeper got, but I think you'd have to be looking at maybe getting one involved second half. Too many 6s here, I think, for Tato's like him. But definitely, I think Owen has to be coming on here.
It was Etzebaria, wasn't it, for Amoroso?
That one makes sense.
And as for Astor, I'm seeing Boa Morte off for John Dow Thomason. How many opportunities is this guy going to get in the Super League? He seems to move around clubs without ever playing. I mean, just in this iteration, Astor's his 3rd club, and this will be only his 3rd appearance for them over a couple of seasons now. Chunso to MLC.
Is John Dow Thompson not an ex-Devil, Fifey? Did you not have John Dow Thompson at one point? Or am I imagining it?
I think I did.
Or Elmander, I'm thinking. I
definitely had Elmander. I think the last before this iteration, I think that very last season, I went big on John Dow Thomason in the auction to get him, because he was just someone. He was just another Elmander for me to have when the Devils were rubbish. So the other change was Emre off for Michael Owen, Chunso going into midfield and Owen. So it's a whole new attacking midfield lineup for the second half. Does it look strong, or is there too many cogs in, round pegs and square holes for you?
Possibly, but he had to do something. As I say, there was far too many 60s, so I think he's done all that he can do. Now, Emerson in there, big player for him. I mean, he's going to have to have a totally different performance if we're going to get out of this. I mean, put their chances away would be the first thing.
Well, let's
Needs to be
see
good.
who will put their chances away in this second half. Rossini with another opportunity, and it looked like another one there for him. But again, now are Leddersford going to catch them on the hop? And they have done it. It's Ronaldinho, but it's been disallowed. And Astor still remain just the one goal behind. Will that be the wake-up call they need? Or are they going to get caught again? And they have been caught again. Oh, and another goal disallowed for Leddersford. Unbelievable scenes. A third entertaining game in a row. Leddersford 1-0 up despite Astor looking much the better side throughout. And Leddersford have also had 2 goals disallowed. And we move towards 80 minutes. And it's Van Nistelrooy and Amoroso. Still Amoroso. And Salihamidzic and Thomason, but he puts it wide. And an injury for Pedrino. I imagine, if I'm right, Pozzanzini, I imagine it's going to be something along the lines of Petkov on and swap them over.
Is Even Nielsen no right? DMR right? Where does Even Nielsen play? Is he no right-sided?
He is. He could also play there, potentially.
That'd probably be what I would have done there. But it's been all Leddersford this half, isn't it?
I disagree. I think it's been all Astor, and Leddersford have caught them on the counter twice.
Astor just didn't. I thought Astor had more of the first half for where I'm seeing it like. But
I think Astor have been the dominant side for the entire 80 minutes.
You think so? Just not put their chances away. I mean, you could see that. You could see them getting a goal now that Leddersford had the 2 chalked off. You could see a wee sneaky late equaliser. We'll have to be quick though.
Just waiting for Alf to confirm which of the 2 possible subs that we're expecting he's going to make. Tato pointing out Taibi on a 10 here, then we loaded it up, C's on a 9, and he's just put obscene performance from Massimo here. It's not. This is what he does week in, week out. He's
one of the better keepers.
And Alf confirming Petkov. For risk of this taking a long time to answer, do you want them swapping over, Alf, so that Petkov's on the left? I mean, I think it makes sense for him to play on the left, but unless he confirms he's going to stay on the right. Would you be swapping that over, Ian?
It's Petkov's left, isn't it?
He is.
Aye, definitely. Pozzanzini right and left, is he?
Yes, he is. He plays both sides.
Aye. No, he doesn't want them swapped. No.
So Petkov stays on the right-hand side. We've got 10 minutes to go. It's still only 1 goal in this. Sandals package in the Maldives. Oh, Alf in another time zone or what? I see what he means. I missed the earlier comment. Petkov comes on and instantly gets a yellow card. Chonso picks it up. And Emerson, Salihamidzic. 5 minutes to be added on, though. And we're moving into that 5 now. Frede, Honsho, Scally, Emerson, they're coming forward again. Yellow card for Pasasoglu. Free kick, Chonso lines out, takes it quickly. Saved by Tiabi Lesser, but West clears the ball. Astor have just failed to put away their chances. I will be disappointed if this doesn't show that Astor have created a lot more than Leddersford.
Yes. I think maybe
Taibi's going to be absolutely fuming.
Taibi man of the match here, by the way. I can see that.
That is unbelievable.
Wow, you were right in saying Astor had definitely had more of the game. Like, wow.
And straight away it goes in. Can't do any more than that other than score. Playoff hopes over. Battered them. And you're right, Tato. You have absolutely battered Leddersford and just failed to score. Taibi was inspired this evening. And not even got man of the match. Man of the match hasn't even gone to a Leddersford player.
I think that just tells you everything you need to know, doesn't it? I mean, I didn't think it was as one-sided as that, the second half, but clearly it was. Alf's going to be delighted he's got the win there. Big match, Van Nistelrooy, but not too bad ratings across the board. I mean, Taibi's obviously basically gotten the points here, I would suggest.
Absolutely.
Big performance there. But Alf's going to be happy that that's a big win for him against a fellow playoff. It's big, the main man getting the man of the match. So lovely to see.
I was going to say, you'll be delighted to see Neil Scally get a man of the match.
Look at the tackles, 21 tackles, fantastic. Fantastic. Apart from that, I think Leddersford got the better overall ratings. I mean, a few sixes there. he's going to be gutted with that. Just lacking that cutting edge, as Tato says. I mean, creating plenty of chances, just not putting them away.
No, this is it. It's just the difference. And Tato's saying they're happy with the performance, just can't compete with Van Nistelrooy and Ronaldinho up top better than any of his options.
You've got to agree with that.
I would agree. I think Rossini's been in decent form, but so has Van Nistelrooy. I think Ronaldinho and Etsabaria is a better pairing than Chunso and Boa Morte, and they're also a better pairing than Michael Owen out of position and John Dale Thomason, who doesn't play. So I think Tato's right. There's positives to take from the performance, but he will be gutted that all but rules them out of the playoffs. That I think they would have to win every game for the rest of the season and hope other results go their way.
I mean, you can't. I wouldn't rule them out, as I say, as long as it's still mathematically possible. But the chances of them winning every single game is slim, and the chances of them getting favours as well as that is maybe a wee bit a bridge too far.
And he mentions the difference in quality of the attacking players, and this is no disrespect to Tato's pick as number one, but I think the goalkeepers was the difference. And it's not that Days played badly at all. It's just like I said, at full time, Tavi was inspired.
I mean, on player for player on paper, Ledesford are just a cut above. I mean, Tato's right with the attacking options, Ronaldinho and I mean, he's just got Ledesford in comparison. I've just got so many more options, and individually the players are just a level above. Tato's totally right.
Right, well, we don't want Haggis next. We'll just go to the next. No, Greavesy. Greavesy wanted to play, didn't he? So let's go to Locomotive against Dragons. And Loco are doing something a bit sort of niche in the Super League and playing free at the back.
Jesus, I think Greaves at desperation.
Greaves is very much in desperation mode. He won't admit it, but the fact that he's changed tactics more times than Steve did in any of his fail seasons is ridiculous. Greavesy, as we've always said, is known for doing one thing, and he's moved away from it, and now he can't replicate what he did before.
No, I mean, you've got to give him some credit, but looking at that tactic, that just absolutely reeks desperation. I don't know what the arrows on the centre halves are doing. I mean, to me, it just I'm assuming he's obviously tried this at one point or other. If he's not, then he just basically gave up. But I mean, again, we know what the game engine's like. Shit like this is liable to pay off. You know what I mean? If it's just in a one-off game, but I think Greavesy, if he doesn't win this, and he can definitely say goodbye to his playoff chances. So for him to go free at the back in a must-win game is risky. But again, I just think he's run out of ideas.
In a fixture that they've dominated as well over the course of this save.
I mean, Dragons have been that. I mean, I don't know if this is going back to when they were absolutely guff Dragons. You know what I mean? So historically, Loco have been one of the better sides in the league. So it doesn't surprise me that they've dominated the fixture. But this season's just been a non-starter for Greaves, innit? They've been so poor, worse than us, which just tells you a story in itself. Montella really hasn't fired. He's not settled on a formation really, which is understandable if you've not been getting results. But I'm really interested to see if this sort of thing works. I mean, three at the back, I think this will be the first time this season it's been deployed by anybody, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
I'm kind of hoping it goes well, because I have said on more than one occasion, when everyone said that 2-7-1 is the only way you can play in the Super League, I've said that there is a way to get free at the back to work. I don't think this is necessarily it, but I do think there's a way you can make free at the back work in the Super League.
Yeah, you have to say that. I mean, normally when you play three at the back, one of them, like the guy in the middle, will get a 6 or something, but you're not going to mind that if you're winning a game and the other two get 9s or 8s or whatever. But I just think against this sort of standard-ish formation, I think he might be struggling, but you never know. Dragons, I've always said they've got a really good squad. Gattuso's one of my favourites. The wing-back options are good. Bauma, I've tried to get him to Dragons for a couple of seasons now. He's not been willing to part. Unsurprisingly. Again, it's Dragons their goal difference is round about even, so they're definitely my shout. I mean, if it comes into goal difference, they're definitely thereabouts. If they win this, and they're right in the playoff mix. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Dragons really challenging for that sixth spot.
No, I completely agree. And what, in the interest of fairness, not digging people out or calling people out, but just in the interest of fairness, it's worth noting Michael Carrick's inclusion on the Dragons bench after they also picked an unavailable player tonight. So we had to do some late moving around for them, and I had to pick a spare sub for their squad. But I like their move to go 2 up front. I think Morientes and Clivert could work if given a run. Evening, Swanee. I hope you enjoy this fixture before you head off to bed. David's moving into centre midfield tends to work when they do it. So I think that is a solid pick. Lazans has been in more recently alongside Gattuso, like you said. It's a decent pairing. I think the fact that they've stuck with Emerton and Balmer, they're not necessarily getting the numbers expected. I mean, Emerton on that amount of games, I would hope for a bit more. Balmer, widely considered up there in terms of his position, but maybe not getting the numbers that you'd expect from him either. But I think you're right. They definitely have the makings of a top 6 squad. It's just with the league the way it is. I think they've played better than maybe ninth suggests. It's just they're the same as everyone else, consistently inconsistent.
I mean, when it comes down to it, though, I mean, I know I've suffered a bit with not having that out and out goal scorer in the Super League, and the Dragons. I mean, every other position I think they've covered is good. They've got Archie back as an option on the bench, but if Clivert could have a wee bit of form leading into the playoffs, I mean, they'd be a real danger. Morientes is also capable of getting goals. I mean, their squad as a whole, I really like it. As I say, Gattuso, one of my favourites in the game. I mean, their squad is definitely top 6 quality, and if they could get Clivert on a wee run now, I mean, you wouldn't fancy playing against them.
No, absolutely not.
Well,
we know Greavesy wants to get off to bed. Thankfully, that's not gone to a ghost game. So can I get a quick prediction from you before I do kick off?
Just due to that mental formation Greavesy's put, I'm going to say Dragons 3-1.
Okay, 3-1 to the Dragons. As we kick off, nothing happened in the first 10 minutes. But it is Dragons who seem to start a little bit quicker now. Although Loco getting their foot on the ball a little bit, and an injury to one of those 3 centre-backs. They do have 2 adequate replacements. Now, Lucenov tends to be the sub of choice, but the fact that Cambuise has been called up from the reserves, maybe this is his chance to come on?
I think Lucenov. I think so. He's just sitting in there. I know he can play defensive mid as well, so I would be surprised if it wasn't Lucenov.
And it is Lucenov, I can see in the chat there, so I will bring him on now, and we can resume the game. That is very much going to detract from their defensive capabilities because Lawson's been one of their stalwarts. Ian, are you still there?
Sorry, mate.
That's right. I was just worried. And just as Jamie puts in the chat that we don't score enough, 17 is a joke. Edgar Davids on the stroke of half time. I said his move to centre midfield tends to pay off. It gives them the lead. I mean, this is a game of few chances. 2 teams with defensive-based formations. Perhaps unsurprising to see the lack of attempts, but it is Dragons that go in ahead, and a crucial lead it could be as they still hunt a top 6 spot.
I mean, I don't know why I said there'd be 4 goals in this match when it's Lokomotiv Boston involved, but looking at it, Loco, they didn't really seem to have offered much going an attack. Dragons have snuck that goal. Good time to score at half time. It maybe finish 1-0 now. I mean, Loco's stats aren't great at all.
That is rank average, isn't it?
I mean, their defensive players the best rated. There's no surprise, but the rest are offering nothing going forward. Montella really had a lull in his form. looking at the bench, has he got that many options? So maybe look at Alessandro for Scholes or something like that. But apart from that, he's not really got anything that you would consider would be able to get him back into the match. It's never right Lokomotiv Boston off as such, but I think he's going to struggle to get in the second half.
Well, he's going with he is making sub, but his count was for Makalele. Is the sub for the second half. Doesn't really offer much, I would argue, in terms of attacking intent, but maybe just freshens up that centre midfield a little bit.
I think that's all it's going to do. I mean, even if he'd maybe put long arrows on the wing backs, even maybe just to give that wee bit more attacking threat, but I just can't see them winning the game anyway. They might Loco and Shithouse or draw late on, but I can't really see them winning it now, to be honest. But you never know.
As for Dragons, slightly better looking raters, you'd argue that he would definitely want more from the wing backs. They should be getting more from the wing backs. Defenders rating a 6, largely because Loco aren't offering anything in attack as such, so not much for them to do. I don't really expect Jamie to do much. He might bring Volodenkov on for Emerton.
There's not really much. I mean, as you were saying about the wing backs, looking to get them more involved, but maybe, as you say, too many defensive players just in front of him. That wall. Archie back on the bench is an option there, maybe, but Raul's not doing too badly. So, I think Jamie will probably just stick on. Is he changing it? I think
he's making a double change at half time. So it is Volodenkov for Emerton, and Archie back coming on for Morientes. He's going to drop then back into the AM position, and Raul is going to partner Cliver up front, something he has done fairly recently. So we could see a bit more from Raul here as well.
Interesting. I mean, back's a good option for the bench. He's a Haggis legend. It's interesting. So I don't tend to mix up too much when I'm winning, but we'll see how it goes.
No, absolutely. 10 minutes go by without much incident of note. Dragons coming forward now, looking for a second. Peruzzi did let it run free, but Loco were able to clear. They come forward themselves now. But there's a lack of sort of bodies in attacking positions, making it difficult for them to convert these chances. And wow, 18 minutes flew by with absolutely nothing happening. So we're moving towards injury time. Davids picks it up and Balmer, but Ferdinand gets head to it. It's a corner to Dragons. Raul knocks it down, Davids, but Sambrotta gets ahead of Raul. And are we going to get some injury time drama? Montella's done it in injury time.
Oh.
Wow, they really do not require a lot of chances, do they, Loco? With the last kick of the game, they have equalised, and a result that suits nobody on the pitch but suits everybody else in the table. Jamie is going to be sick of seeing this.
That really did have 1-0 written over it. You didn't see Boston getting in. They've definitely upped it second half, though, and had the better the second half.
I mean, they arguably deserved a point, didn't they?
Looking at that, they definitely did. It was just going to be a one chance, I think. As I said, I didn't see them winning the match, but you always seen them getting that shithouse fucking last minute fucking equaliser, didn't you? But Jamie's got to be disappointed. For the chasing pack and the player footballs, that's probably the best result you could have hoped for.
And Greavesy, in the first game that finished 4-4, he put meh because he's the only one that doesn't enjoy that kind of game. He will be windmilling as if he'd won this one, won't he?
I think so. I mean, it keeps these faint hopes alive. Dragons will be disappointed that they didn't get that second killer goal. Looking at Greaves' stats, I mean, a couple of players have upped it. Ferdinand obviously getting the 9 there. Carlos, Zambrotta, they've definitely stepped it up. Still a few 6s in there, but again, Montella just getting that one chance and putting that away. He's 2 shots on target. And Greaves has got to be the happier. Greaves is definitely going to be the happier of two.
This game was purely. This result was purely based on trying not to concede too many goals and knowing that Montella does not require. I mean, look at that: 2 attempts, 1 on target, 1 goal. That he's basically saying we will put everyone in defence. Give Montella the ball. You do what it is you do.
That's it. And the 3 at the back maybe lives to see another day now as well. I mean, Greaves is going to be happy. It'd be interesting to see how it does away from home if that's what Greaves is looking at doing, just keeping it tight and sneaking a goal. I mean, he's got Montella there, so he's more capable of doing it. But looking at the stats, Jamie's going to be bitterly disappointed he didn't manage to get one there. I mean, Davids has done well, Lysons, Ugo Ehe putting the tackles in. Just disappointed he never got that killer second.
Oh, absolutely. I mentioned Davids in the build-up. Moving into centre midfield is a different animal. He's very much up there in terms of the best and most consistent players in that position. Gattuso again, maybe not as many tackles as Lysans, but certainly a better tackles won rate. So he performed very well. Bauma upped his rating a little bit in the second half. Volodenkov was a little bit more effective than Emerton. Stuff for Jamie to take, of course, but as you said, he will be bitterly disappointed.
See, just touching on the central midfielders, I know there's some people didn't like playing DM defensive midfielders in that central midfield role. I think they can be more than capable. I mean, David's there, get a man in the match. I think there's a few like Mendieta is more than capable of playing there. Steven Gerrard. So I think there definitely is a place for defensive midfield.
Vogel's been doing it all season for Halls, hasn't he?
That's it, mate. I mean, there's a lack of midfielder centrals in the game, like top quality. I know you've got Emerson there, but I think they're definitely capable of doing it. And I would probably prefer a good DM in central midfield, to be honest with you.
Well, we've only got a couple of games left, and next up is Halls. They travel to Dudley. Two teams currently inside the top six. Dudley probably one win away from all but confirming their place, something that not many people predicted at the start of the season. Halls, as we've said, under this new manager bounce, have been rocketing up the league and find themselves in that crucial sixth place. As we said in the intro, it's been changing every week for the last couple, but Halls are definitely on the upward trajectory.
Definitely. I mean, he's had a bit of a turgid season. I mean, he's been trying different things and that, but he's put together a good squad. I mean, as I was saying at the start, I think they're probably just about in pole position for six, but Dudley have had a fantastic season. Steve's had it arguably tougher than Jens. I mean, results-wise, finishing bottom-ish of the table, and just this season's been night and day for him. He's done a fantastic job. I think the transfer market, he made some huge signings. Looking at that squad on paper now, I really like it. It's got a good balance about it. Eric Addo, one of my favourites, has came in and done a great job. Kalazi's solid. Zanetti, Lizarazu been a good signing. I know he's kicking on a wee bit now, but Eric Addo, definitely one of my favourites in the game. I think I played him everywhere apart from up front when I had him at Midlothian. He's got a great squad. And
unbeaten in 5, despite the trials and tribulations of being Dudley Hill manager. Unbeaten in 5 against Halls. He goes unchanged from the 4-3 win last time out. As we say, all but confirmed their playoff place. Steve is living in dreamland compared to what he's had the last couple of seasons, and I think most people are quite happy for him, because outside of being Dudley Hill manager, he's one of the great characters in the Super League, especially at the moment. And one of the genuine nice guys of the world as well.
Definitely, mate. If there's one person you wouldn't begrudge getting into the top 6, Steve's definitely one of them. As I say, Jens as well. I mean, he's had it quite tough, but that new manager bounce might just be the difference. The rest of the chasing part to get it. I mean,
crucially for Halls. So as the team appears on the screen there, Milewski suspended is massive, but also Viduka, who's been in decent form, I believe did score in the 3-0 win last time out against Leddersford. He's ineligible against his parent club. So Louis Zhao comes in for this one. Not yet played this season, but had a decent record in the reserves.
He looks good there. He looks good on paper. I mean, if he's been scoring in the reserves, why not chuck him in? If it was me, I maybe would have been looking at playing 2 attacking midfielders. But again, you're not wanting to deviate too much. If it's a winning formation, you probably want to try and stick with it. So I think looking at that looks pretty solid to me. Viduka will be a big miss, but as I say, maybe if we went with Collins and Brozek in behind Crespo, but I'm sure Jens he does know what he's doing. Whether he's going to miss Viduka too much, we'll wait and see.
Okay, so having now seen both 11s, what are you expecting from this one?
It's going to be a close one. I think it may be a score draw, Fifey. Score draw for me. I believe. I've no idea what I put for the predictions, Swan's predictions. I didn't believe any of them have been the same. So really.
Well, if you're anything like me, Luca Toni gets a penalty, gets his 10th for the season on 14 minutes. Before I say anything about my predictions, Crespo on 34 levels things up, and these two teams certainly trying to keep that momentum, as we keep saying, going. This is another big game for the chasing pack and for the teams in the top 6. We get to half time, 1-1. Let's have a look what the penalty was for. So Saviola lined up a free kick. Gerrard backed into and fouled Tony. The referee gave a penalty, and Luca Toni himself stepped up to move into double figures for the season. That half flew by. We didn't even really get to finish one point of discussion, and that shows in the fact that neither side have really created anything.
No, it did fly by. I mean, pretty even. Even Stevens, I did think it would be quite tight. I think if Dudley were to win this one, I think that would all but cement their top 6 if it's not already cemented. But I think a win here really would. Probably better for the chasing pack to see Dudley winning as well. But Hools, if they did manage to get a point, it'd probably be a decent point for them, I think, because Dudley have been flying. Looking at the stats, Roy Mackay, Zanoni maybe a wee bit underperforming. Southgate, I've seen just prior to the game starting, was going to retire, so I don't know, maybe he's maybe a bit leggy. Maybe thinking of Tudor maybe coming on. I don't know if Steve's going to have a look at any of that. Maybe Inzaghi for Mackay or that. But not bad.
Let's have a look then at the away side. Not a great performance that by Gerrard. Although his pass completion, I think his 5's a little bit harsh, to be honest. You look at decent pass completion. Yes, he's not attempted many tackles, but he's got a 50% win rate. He's won 50% of his headers as well. I think a 5 is a bit harsh.
Is that maybe for giving the penalty away? Maybe that's what's dragged them down a bit.
Possibly.
Penalty.
Crespo continuing to sort of rebuild his reputation of late. He started scoring a few goals, a bit like Van Nistelrooy has been for Ledisford. So that's going to be crucial. Another team struggling with their wing backs, their wide players, not rating particularly highly at half time. Jens is making one change. I can see Collins coming on for Louis Zal, so that experiment has lasted exactly 45 minutes.
Collins isn't the one that I play up front. Personally, I always play him where Brozek's playing, so it'll be interesting to see how he does.
Put Brozek up front?
Brozek's not really one I would play up front either. If I was going to play the two of them, it would definitely be 2 behind Crespo. That's what I would have went for. But maybe Louis Zal maybe a bit harsh there. He was on a 7, same as Crespo, maybe a wee bit harsh. But we'll wait and see.
Well, let's kick off the second half then and see if the change bears fruit for the away side. As Dudley seems to have had an attempt or two early in the second half and definitely seen the more dominant team 10 minutes in. And Tony doubles his tally for the night and goes to 11 for the season as he continues chasing the golden boot. And then 10 minutes flies by with nothing happening. We'll slow it down a little bit. Crucial game this, as we said. Again, saying as it. What do you mean? Oh, yeah, because we wouldn't be changing the tactic anyway. There was a shove there and a yellow card as we move into the last 10 minutes. Do Halls have that one big chance left in them? Collins, Vogel. Zanoni gets in the way. Illegally, though, as Jeff Palmer gives him a yellow card. Gerrard evades the challenge. And Vogel, Campbell, Ricardinho, Thuram, Crespo. Goalkeeper manages to save, but then straight away again. And Halls want a penalty. The referee's having none of it. That looked a foul to me in the text commentary. We will revisit that one, that's for sure. Jens will be fuming if that looks as solid a penalty as I think it did. The full-time whistle goes. Dudley have won 2-1, but have they won in controversial style, Ian? Let's find out. how far? It was quite near the end, wasn't it? Candela got above Zanetti. Candela headed the ball to Vogel. Rustico went in with his feet high and challenging Crespo. Well, high foot on Crespo. I think that's a penalty, don't you?
Well, if the penalty in the first half was given him for Gerrard backing into and fouling, you would think maybe high feet would justify a penalty. But looking at the stats, I think Dudley probably deserved that. One shot on goal. Jens will be disappointed at that. Maybe the penalty, maybe would have been a bit harsh on Dudley if they did get the penalty equalised. But again, for the Chasing Park, that's a pretty good result. Dudley, I would say, are now nailed on for top six. So congratulations to Steve. Back to the drawing board for Jens.
I completely agree. I think that result has all but secured Dudley now. I think they are a top six club at last. Congratulations to him. I also think it was a penalty, but you're right on the balance of play. I think Dudley deserved the win. Let's have a look then at their individual ratings. And just look at that. You've got Kaladze there, Addo, who you mentioned, Luca Toni, man of the match for his 2 goals, all getting 9s. Ian Edwards saying, if we're letting punches in the face go, then crack on. He's still not over that. Solid ratings throughout. Roy Mackay, possibly looking for a bit more from him, but he's very hit and miss in the Super League. Sometimes he's sublime. The rest of the time he's ridiculous. But I think Steele will be very happy with that performance. I mean, again, I just want to highlight the performance of the man you were talking about, Eric Addo. What a game from him.
Definitely, mate. I didn't, when I had him, I mean, I was playing him at left wing back, and he genuinely never got lower than like a 7 or an 8. He's Mr. Consistency. Looking at the tackles, I mean, put in there Lizarazu, Rustico, Kaladze. I mean, that's just a solid performance. Roy Mackay, as you say, the only one letting him down. But I think if he could get that, they sort of stats every game, he'd be delighted.
As for Halls, again, that the wing backs didn't manage to up their levels in the second half. That will be an area of concern. Gerrard went up from a 5 to a 6, perhaps still a little bit harsh. Ricardinho not having the impact required in that crucial centre mid position. Perhaps Gerrard moving there and someone else, even a Liverani who's on the bench, maybe partnering Vogel in defence and midfield would be the answer to that.
I mean, that does seem to be a harsh 6 for Gerrard. I mean, his passing looks pretty good. Completion, tackles, 13 out of 8. I mean, that's not too bad. Just like keeper 6 again. Agat 6, as you were saying, wing backs have definitely let him down there. David Collins playing up front, definitely didn't fancy him there. Just an all-round poor. I mean, if Jez was to get a draw at that game, you'd say it would be pretty undeserved, to be honest. Looking at going on the ratings anyway. So
yeah, no, I see that point completely.
Maybe a wee bit concerning for Jens, but again, Dudley be flying, so it's no.
He does point out in the chat that Malevski's back next, and they just don't seem to win without him.
Well, he is a key player, and he is a big miss for them. So I think Jens will be too concerned, but he could be doing me picking up points. It depends on how other results. I mean, the table, I don't know what's going to look like. Depending if we were to win, I'd maybe put a wee bit of pressure on him. That's highly unlikely. But it's a big game next up here, actually.
Well, we're on to our penultimate game of the evening, and it's Devils, who have already qualified, hosting Churchtown. They're without Kesman, who's injured. Makoku is away on international duty with Ghana under 21s, but that doesn't detract anything from this lineup. The kind of, not that Devils needed a break as such, but obviously the ruling with regards to injuries and players being out meant that Oya having his month injury meant he could be removed to the reserves, and it just fell in place for Kieran Dyer, who'd returned from fitness to come straight back into the team. So no one will be delighted to see that, of course, and that's it. And that puts Dyer back in his usual position at right wing back. Montero back as well. I believe he was suspended, either suspended or injured for the last one. Zauri goes to left wing back. Henri dropped to the bench as Kuehl partners Aymar in support of Mpenza. You seem to say it every week, but this is pretty much as strong as it gets for Devils, isn't it? Is this their best 11?
I think so, mate. I mean, I know Hodges not a big fan of Keel, but that's for me. That's probably one of his best positions. I mean, he's got Zowry coming in as well. I mean, that's just, I think every manager would be absolutely over the moon to have a 1-11 like that. I mean, Zowry had a bit of an injury, I think, for part of the
he was
season
out
anyway.
3 months.
Aye, but I mean, I know Keel can operate in that wing back role as well. Soranchinski maybe goes under the radar a wee bit. He's a big, massive player for me. A real big fan of him. Looking really, really good there. Dyer, obviously, right wing back. I mean, as you say, you can't really say any more about them. For me, they're champions in waiting. I think anybody's going to stop them. So it's just a case of Hodgie keeping things ticking over to the end of the season. Whether he maybe, I don't know if he'd be tempted to rotate maybe a wee bit and save players, but knowing Hodgie, I think he'll just want to keep the momentum going and just rack as many wins up as he can. Looking at records a bit surprising, no?
Yeah, and just pulling up on something you mentioned earlier, I want to say it would have been this game. No. There was a game that Churchtown beat. That's the game I was looking for. This was Dimble playing as caretaker, where he had the 2 up top, and you mentioned the strikers with outward arrows. This was Dimble's first game. Devils were top of the league. I think Churchtown were bottom. Dimble came in as a caretaker, played this. Everyone was like, "What the hell's going on?" And Churchtown won.
As I was saying about the kind of formations that can sometimes maybe trick the match engine as such. So that just looking at that's got a result against them. I believe Scott went with a formation. It was one at the back, and that managed to get a point against them. So maybe for managers looking forward and maybe towards the playoffs, maybe going with a wee bit of an out the box formation might do the trick against them, especially in one-off ties. It's maybe the way to go.
Well, Churchtown revert to something that they've played throughout the majority of the season. But what was interesting when I saw this submission was that Brujink, who, 3 goals and 1 assist, 2 man of the matches since he came in 7 games ago, and Salas 3 goals, 2 assists in his 6 games, both dropped to the bench with this change of tactic.
I'm quite a fan of having big players on the bench. If you're still in the match at half time, maybe bring them on. I'm quite a big fan of that, actually. So I don't think he's weakened it too much. Hussein has grabbed the odd goal this season, I recall.
Yeah, he's on fire.
He looks pretty good. I'm not a big fan of ML and MR formations, as you probably know. So
no, but he's played this for most of the season, and Alex has certainly done reasonably well there, as has Luke Chadwick when he's been playing this season.
He has. I mean, I know other guys. I mean, Filchester have had relative success with that formation as well. Yep. It's just no one that I really like. But no, Riquelme is I just don't know about Riquelme. I mean, I've had him. His stats suggest that he should be an absolute worldie, but he just never seems to really do it. I mean, looking at that, he's not even maybe just tickling the 7 average. He's never really done it at any team. You never know. On his day, he might be able to pull a rabbit out of the hat. I don't know. I just think. I think anything other than a Devils win here would be massive. A massive upset.
Okay, so you're going for Devils win then. Let's kick this one off as we wait any other predictions in the chat. And Devils looking for a goal inside the first minute. Not the first time that would have happened this season. Churchtown with that one and actually start coming forward themselves already. Van Bronckhorst getting a very early yellow card. And Penza and Aymar, though, starting to play between themselves. No, Churchtown will not want to see that. And another attempt missed. 20 minutes on the clock now. Churchtown certainly playing their part, though. They're creating chances. Very intriguing tactical battle this seems to be being played as both sides going for goal. And it's Luke Chadwick again. Oh, but missed. And Hussein. And the half-time whistle goes. Your mate, Boyd McGregor, in charge of this one, of course. I've just spotted. Half-time, 0-0. I'm surprised to see the shots on goal so low. It looked like both teams have had more attempts than they've been credited with.
It definitely look an even half. Churchtown will definitely be the happier of the two still in the game. It's pretty as even as you can get. Maybe tackles one's a wee bit of concern for Churchtown, but I think he's got to be delighted to still be in the game. Wait and see how the ratings are looking. Oh, Harry Kewell in a fight. I believe Hodgie isn't here, so there wouldn't be any subs for Devils. So maybe Churchtown can capitalise on this.
I prefer not to comment on where Hodgie is, because he pulled me up on it last time for saying he's normally quiet in the chat and just has it on in the background. I'm sure he's taking great awareness as to what is happening right now in the Super League. But you're right, Harry Kewell on his 5, not ideal when he's been brought in to outperform Omri. I imagine that would be a change that could be made, is to swap them around again. Kewell's, it's interesting because everyone seems to slate Kewell when he plays at left wing back, but that's where he gets his best ratings.
Definitely. I mean, for me, he is more a central attacking midfielder, but you're right. I mean, he done really well for you at left wing back, but I think Zaure has performed well in the whole. I know he's on a 6 there, so that would maybe even be something you could have looked at maybe at half time, and outlandish moving Kewell to left back and bringing on somebody else. But we'll wait and see.
Let's have a look at Churchtown then as the tactical conversation carries on in the chat. Another very average-looking performance, cumulative throughout the squad. There's a couple of 7s, but mostly 6s dotted around. But the fact that they're still drawing, they have created chances. Devils aren't completely outplaying them. There's a lot there for Dimble to work with, and he has got potential to say, we've got Bruges, we've got Salas on the bench, 2 players in relatively good form. We could bring 1 or 2 of these on, and they could make the difference.
I think so. That's what I was saying at the start. I mean, if you've got players of that calibre on the bench and you're still in the game at half time, I think you would definitely be looking to utilise them, bring either one of the 2 or both of them on at half time. I think I'd be shocked if Dimble doesn't make a change here. Well, definitely still in the game.
Former Devils player Arnold Brujink comes on at half-time for Van Bommel. Riquelme moves back into centre midfield. So certainly an attacking change. Dimble going for it in the second half.
And why not? I mean, it's a massive game. If Dimble could get a win here in the playoff hunt, it'd make things very interesting.
It would indeed. Devils again starting quickly but failing to convert the chance or 2 that they have. And now Churchtown coming forward. Both sides still making attempts just past the hour mark now, waiting for the deadlock to be broken. And there's a red card, and it's Soroczynski. Now, I've not seen Hodgie in the chat, which means that we're just pretty much going to have to go like that, I think, in the interest of fairness.
I'd agree, mate. I'd agree. Maybe if he was, I don't know, he's not really got any options as such on the bench. Ayala.
Well, Oliveira is a defensive midfielder.
Oh, I see the different. All right, is it? That's him for Tomadira's team, isn't it? I think you're just going to have to go with that, mate. I mean, who does he hook? Maybe Kewell because he was performing below par. Maybe Kewell for him would maybe be the one. But if Hodgie's not here, I think you've just got to roll with that, mate.
Yeah, Steve confirming that he's currently playing darts. So just past the hour mark, still 0-0, but now Churchtown with a man advantage. Can they make it count? We've seen in the past, though, Devils with 10 men can be just as dangerous as Devils with 11. Let's see what Dimble's side have in them. De Silva from 30 yards out. Hussein picks out, goes to top corner, and Riquelme. Oh, Frey gets the save, and then Chadwick fails to convert. We're inside the last 10 minutes, inside the last 5 now. All these minutes ticking by without anything happening. You just feel there's going to be late drama here, and it's Churchtown who are ending strong. Can they make it count? 3 minutes to be added on. We're into those 3 minutes now. Last chance saloon maybe, Bruging. And it's picked up by Riquelme and Alex and Hussein. Still Hussein. Saved by Frey. Let's see run free. Agahawa. And he scored! Another injury time goal. And Agahawa in injury time has shown. Wow, Churchtown have won this 1-0. What a result that is for Churchtown. And all those teams in the chasing pack that have dropped points tonight are suddenly ruining this result.
It's a massive result for Dims. He's going to be absolutely delighted with that. I think when they went down to the 10 men and knowing that there wasn't going to be a sub made, I think it was a huge chance and he's capitalised. I mean, that's the result of the night for me so far. Massive result.
Absolutely massive. Let's have a look at the Devil stats first. Nesta picking a man of match. 10 out of 10 performance by Nesta. Very impressed by him. Zauri on the other end of things, not very impressive. Kuehl as well, struggling in his more advanced role, which might be something to surprise. Mpenza not really involved at all. Churchtown clearly doing a number on the Devils' main on the main threats. Just having a look at the chat as everyone's going scenes. Oh wow, and they're all aboard the Dims train. Well, let's have a look at those riding on the Dims train at the moment. Oliver Kahn continued to impress. Solid performance by Mendes de Silva as well. Brugink coming on, making an impact. Raquel May's ratings upping a little bit in that second half as well. It wasn't a sensational performance, but what it was a solid team performance.
It really is. I mean, Dims isn't going to care one jot about the ratings there. That's, as I say, there's no many teams going to get a result at Devils. I know it's been done a couple of times, but that's absolutely massive. I'm just looking at going back to the Devils ratings here. Maybe if Hodgie was about it, maybe would they hooked Kuehl or done something at half time. So I think Dims is just capitalising. That's an absolutely massive result for him. Superb, mate.
And I believe that's just Devils' second defeat in 21 games.
Massive.
And that neatly brings us in. No pressure on you on what's been a very entertaining night of Super League action, Ian. I do hope that Haggis against Fulchester is going to be just as chaotic and entertaining as the others. We look at your team first, and you've moved to a 2 up top.
We have disappointed in the last result. We're going to give Smith and Saha a bash. I mean, I didn't really ken my best formation. Some things have worked to win a game, as I say, just the inconsistency. So we're going to give this a bash. Our record against Fulchester is absolutely horrific. So we've decided to mix up.
You won the very first game in this save and has lost every game since, including, if we're looking for entertainment, not necessarily from your perspective, but I wouldn't mind seeing one of these again.
Well, maybe if it was the other way about, I think Casillas is in the night, so there's chances that we will be seeing goals, probably in the Fulchester column. So we need to start winning games now if we've got any chance of doing it. And Churchtown winning that last game has just cracked up the pressure again. I think if we fail to win this, I think that's probably our chances over, to be honest with you.
And Fulchester, as we look at their team, they do make changes tonight. They line up like this. Fulchester, I'm guilty of it as well. We're saying that they're in that 5 that have pretty much made it. But before a ball's kicked tonight, they are only 4 points above Churchtown, who have won. So there's only a point gap. We know Hall's lost, so there's no danger of Fulchester dropping out. But in terms of other results, Fulchester aren't nailed on, are they?
No, definitely no. And historically, there is a team that normally drops away in that in one of the 2 positions that occupy in the playoffs. So, if Fulchester, they need to watch what they're doing. They didn't want to be losing too many games. And I'm just going to predict now, Shevchenko is guaranteed to get a goal against us. That's nailed on.
It is worth noting for the Super League purists who like to know the full in and outs of what's going on. Director of football has picked this team, not the manager who brought back the winning mentality. The director of football, who was accused of costing them their playoff place, is the man who has selected this team.
It's interesting that sorry.
I was just going to ask you, Nicky Butt being suspended, we say every week how good he's been. You must see that and think suddenly your chances have improved.
Possibly, maybe 1%. I was just going to mention the start thing at Swandon. At Fulchester, I think they're 18 points worse off than what they were, or they need 18 points to equal their points totally last season, which kind of shows you how much poorer they have been this season, but they're still in the mix, so it just shows you how tight the league is on a whole, really.
Absolutely, and you mentioned Shevchenko guaranteed to score. Ryan's already come back saying same as Giggs.
Well,
Jens says he was going to say 1-2, but he's going 1-1. I'm guessing that's based on the fact that Ryan's picked this team. So Jens now backing you because of Ryan's ineptitude to get a point. I won't ask you to predict unless you want to. I know a lot of managers don't like to predict on their own teams.
I'd like to say we'll sneak it by a goal, but I can just see it 2-1 to Fulchester, to be honest with you, sadly.
Well, let's see if you are correct. As well, almost nothing happened in the first half an hour. Hag is now starting to come forward. We asked for entertainment, Ian, and that is the complete opposite. Virtually nothing happened in that first half, as Macca's predicting 7-5.
Jesus.
That's going to be one hell of a second half, Macca, if this finishes 7-5, as the worst game of the night so far gets to half-time.
Maybe 7-5 and throw-ins. That's about all we can afford. I wouldn't be too displeased by getting a point, to be honest, but we need wins at this stage of the season.
Well, let's have a look at Fulchester first, because you're obviously seeing the live feed, so this will give Ryan and Mac a chance to make any changes. Buffon rating highly, considering he's got nothing to do. The attack has not panned out for them at all in that half.
No, it's been pretty poor. I think with the amount of chances, the amount of chances not created, it maybe shows you how the attacking players are rating so low. Biscan coming in and getting an 8, it's pretty good. Buffon 7. There's not really been much happening. I think that's how nobody's on a high rating. Changes, he's not really got that many options. Rui Costa perhaps is someone they might look at. It's just been a pretty dull first half, really, isn't it? Goal second half though, guaranteed.
We were saying earlier, was it Hull's game where we were saying that Gerrard's rating seemed harsh? I think Veron's 6 is looking a bit harsh there. I mean, he's clearly the key man. Everything's going through him. His tackle percentage quite high as well. Is he being knocked down for not winning his headers?
Headers, that'd probably be the only thing. He's won 3 each 5 tackles, so it seems a bit harsh. You would think.
So they're making a half-time change. Cisse for Rui Costa. I'm imagining, Rai, you want to swap with Ronaldo. You don't want Rui Costa playing up front with Ronaldo there, surely. Oh yeah, there we go. Swap with Ronnie. Jens, I'm sure Hodgie. What are you on about, Jens? Oh, you're doing that thing where you're saying me and Hodgie are the same person again. So let's have a look at your stats then, Ian. Walter Samuel doing well. Giggs putting in a performance against his former side as well. Anything? A lot of players though on low involvement in terms of passes. That can't be great to see.
No, it's not great. I'm looking at that straight off the bat. I'm going to bring on Vasilyuk for Saha straight off the bat. Let me see. I think that's going to be it, mate. I'll just roll with that. Mira possibly no performing. Maybe, as you were saying off air, Takanardi maybe a bit hard done by to drop out the match day squad. But Vasilyuk for Saha is about as best as we can muster, I think.
Yeah, just the one change.
Aye, go for it, mate.
Okay, let's kick off this second half of the final game. It cannot be as bad as the first half, surely. Both sides making a change.
It's us, mate. It's us.
Fulchester starting the half strong. Miss a couple of chances. Hag is creating one of their own now. Failing to convert. There's certainly a little bit more intent. And now, well, you mentioned Mira might have been subbed at half-time. He's now definitely getting subbed. Is Mendieta dropping back and Rosicky going on?
That's exactly what we're going to do, mate. Aye, exactly that. Thank you.
It's an attacking intent change, that's for sure, from you. Still looking to get what would be a crucial win at this stage. We will slow it down. 16 minutes plus injury time to go. And who's going to grab the 3 points, if anyone? Fulchester retaining possession as we move towards the final 10 minutes. Both sides just need to create that one chance. Fulchester seem to be dominating the ball. Here comes Shevchenko, and Veron scores.
Fucking hell.
And Veron has commentary saying surely the winning goal, but we've seen drama in injury time already tonight, on a couple of occasions. Here comes Vasilyuk and Giggs. Still Giggs. Hippier could be in trouble. Yellow card for Hippier for pulling Giggs' shirt. Free kick to Haggis. Mendieta just inches wide. We move into injury time, and there is the full time whistle. Not the entertaining or dramatic game that we were hoping for, considering the rest of the night. And from your perspective, a negative result, which comes at a really bad time when you look at certain other results.
Is that I stayed. We had to get a win here, so that's just pretty much that's our season over with. Well done to Maka, just inept really again, just poor, not creating enough. I think we'll just be glad to see the back of this season now, to be honest with you. Pretty shite, mate. Shite.
You say that. I think, most of your ratings there are 7 or above. It was a decent performance. It wasn't exceptional. It was decent. You're right that you could have, especially at home, you'd hope to be creating a bit more of that. But you do come up against a very strong Fulchester side who had their goalkeeper putting in a better performance than he does on average. Their centre back getting man of the match. He's got Hipia Bishgan, who, when Butt's not there, Bishgan always steps up and does a good job as well. So you can't feel too harsh on yourself, because Fulchester, again, much like yourself, solid team performance. It's just their level was slightly higher.
I know, mate, but if you've got any aspirations of making top 6, you need to be putting in, firstly getting better results than that, and secondly putting in better performances. I mean, 3 shots on goal the whole match at home. I mean, you're chasing the playoffs. I mean, it just says it all really. If you're serious about making the playoffs, you need to be creating more chances. We went with 2 up top, quite an attacking formation as well, just pretty poor. I mean, Fulchester are a good side, but as I say, any aspirations of making top 6, you need to be doing better than that. So that is us for the season now.
If it makes you feel any better, I'm just having a look through the chat as you're talking here. Mr. Edwards has gone, unlucky Ian, your comms performance deserved a result. Steve said Haggis compete in every game. What else we've got here? Ryan himself has put unlucky Ian, class on comms tonight. Alpha said hard lucky. And so a lot of people seeing, although it maybe wasn't your best performance of the season, the result, you were slightly unlucky. And have you dropped out again there, Ian? Are you still there you are.
I'm still here, I think. That's very kind, everybody. That's kind. But again, if you want to be challenging top 6, you need to be performing better. I mean, performing better and getting better results. I mean, 1-0 is maybe not a huge disgrace, but as I say, aspirations of top 6, you need to be doing better than that, and we never competed really. So, well done to Maka and Fulchester. That'll be us for this season now. Sadly.
Well, here are the classified results. We had Dudley Hill 2, Halls 1, Gazelles 4, Sloths 4, Haggis 0, Fulchester 1. We've just seen Leddersford 1, Aston 0, Loco 1, Dragons 1, Burn 1, Bostock 1, Devils 0, Churchtown 1, and that leaves the league table looking like this. Still Devils only with a Q on 50 points. Then we've got Burn on 37, Bostock 35, Dudley 35, Fulchester 33, and suddenly that race for second is looking very, very interesting. I think any one of those 4 can still finish second. There's only 4 points between Burn and Fulchester. Churchtown end the night in 6th, and well, that's very impressive on their part. Another team that a lot of people are writing off. Leddersford in 7th on 28, 1 point out below the dotted line. Halls there on 27 points, just 2 points below the dotted line. Then Dragons on 25, they'll still consider themselves part of it. And then we start, I mean, you're ruling yourself out on 23, so that's 6 point gap with 5 to play. So you're in essence saying therefore that Astor, Loco and Sloths are all out of it as well at this point. I definitely would say Loco and Sloths are, for all intensive purposes, unfortunately, I would argue you and Astor are, but there's still something there to play for if you can win your next game.
I think realistically, ourselves and Astor would have to win every game, as you say. I mean, win every single remaining game and hope for a couple of the teams above to slip up. Looking at the top of the table, I mean, I think Dudley are really on the march here. I think they're probably one of the form teams, if not the form team, going into the final bit of the season. There you go. Well, there you go. So I think they're going to be ones to watch. Bostock Burn, maybe a wee bit. They're still there or thereabouts, as I say. But for me, that was a massive result for Churchtown tonight. Huge statement. Fulchester just about nailed it. I think they'll sneak in it in some way, but it's just set up really excitingly.
No, absolutely, and it's worth noting after the bit of feedback I got to my my post in our chat last night, we are live again on Sunday at 9 p.m. At 9, but it's 9 a.m. as we're going to do a Super League breakfast on Sunday morning, something a little bit different. So I look forward to you all getting your boiled eggs, your pancakes, your full English, your porridge, and whatever else it is you're going to be enjoying with Super League Sunday at 9 a.m. Let's have a look at the fixtures. If anyone does, by the way, want to do co-coms at 9 a.m., please let me know. We've got Asta Loco, Bostock Sloths, Churchtown Burn, another big game for Churchtown. Dragons Haggis, Fulchester Dudley. What a game that could be. 5th versus 4th. Both teams, as I said, still finished second. Halls have a very tough looking game at home to Devils. They've just lost though. Can they capitalise on that? And then Leddersford against Gazelles. Some interesting fixtures there. Ian, your initial reaction to your game away at Dragons?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. I mean, I was waxing lyrical about the Dragon squad. It's going to be a really tough one. As I say, I think we're out there to win every single game remaining is a huge task, but to go to Dragons and win is a big enough task in itself. Astor Loco is going to be a big game, as I was kind of saying about us, Marcel and Astor having to win every remaining game if they were to manage to beat Boston there. I think the biggest tie is Fulchester Dudley, and that looks tasty. So just another amazing another amazing round of fixtures. If I can get that out.
Very much looking forward to it. As I said at the start, we are very much in the final countdown now. Just a couple of games left of the regular season, and the playoffs are very much on the horizon. Ian, I'd just like to say thanks again. As always, you have been quality on comms. You always are when you join. Thank you very much for your time this evening. Thank you for everyone in the chat as well. I will be sending packs around. Unfortunately, Jens, I won't be able to do them tonight. I've got a few things to do before I head off to bed, but they will be out tomorrow. But until Sunday morning from Super League HQ, it's a very, very good night.
Amazing. Cheers, Spifey. Good night, everybody.